Well, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today. My name is Corey Luckow. I'm the president of Zoomasys, and I just want to say thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk with you today about a pretty important topic. Today's presentation is titled Measure What Matters: How Successful Companies Stay Focused and Deliver Results. This presentation draws inspiration from the principles outlined in John Doerr's influential book, Measure What Matters. In a world where business faces constant change and increasing complexity, staying focused on what truly drives success is more critical than ever. John's book has shown us that the key to thriving in such an environment lies in setting clear objectives and measuring clear results. Joining me today is Bill Baker, a senior consultant at Zoomasys. Today, Bill will share how successful companies implement these principles to optimize their processes and achieve remarkable outcomes. Bill will provide valuable insights on how we can apply these concepts to our own business. Just a little bit about Bill. He has a wealth of experience in manufacturing and operations. His journey from production assembler to vice president of operations shows his deep understanding and leadership in the field. Bill's proudest achievement is launching a data-driven plant in Mexico, showcasing his talent for building effective teams and implementing advanced technologies. He holds a BS in mathematics from Michigan State University and is certified in Google Advanced Data Analytics. Today, Bill will share his insights on measuring what matters, focusing on optimizing business processes and achieving measurable results. Bill?
Thank you, Corey. All right. Welcome everybody, and again, thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to share some common themes we see among the most successful businesses that we work with. We're going to zero in on one thing we think is helping drive those results, and we'll explore some real world examples of how people are doing this, as well as get into some pretty interesting tools we think to help do that in today's era. Let's start with what they have in common. They excel at delivering an excellent customer experience and return on investment. And we find often their employees and suppliers are engaged in crafting effective and efficient supply chain and manufacturing processes. So here we have, the focus on finance, customer experience, and excellence in operations and supply chain. We also find they're intentional about their customer relationship management. We see a hospitality mindset and often, positive surprises for their customers. ROI, financial awareness. So we see a mindset pervasive at all levels. There's evidence of financial data being analyzed, this data being used in planning, and objectives present throughout their operations. Okay. Changes are seen, as opportunities to flex their abilities. So their strengths in operations and supply chain. For example, during COVID, for example, is the best sort of rise to the occasion based on what they've built. Their employees are engaged. They see suppliers as partners, and they solve problems at multiple levels. So the main thing is, how do they do that? How do they stay focused and deliver these results consistently? They measure what matters. Our attention and the attention of our employees and partners is often our most valuable resource in business today. Being intentional about what we measure at different levels in our organization and tying things together is a challenge that the best companies and their leaders are always seeking to improve. When done right, our data can tell us the story of how things are going in our business. So borrowing from journalism, measuring what matters comes down to answering some basic questions. What we measure should tie to the result we're after, which in our analogy would be the why. If we're trying to improve customer experience or return to investors, what we measure, I'm going to introduce KPI here, key performance indicator. Some of you may be familiar with other terminology. OKR is another one. But what we measure should tie directly to the result that we're after. So let's talk some customer experience, real world examples. So here we're going to talk about the first metric, on-time order fulfillment. Let me tell you, this is a metric that may have got ugly for some of the best of us during COVID, but it's a pretty classic, widely used metric nonetheless. Customer lead time. This is the time that it takes to process an order, release an order, backlog, lead time, transit time. Email response time. How many business hours does it take to respond to a customer? Number of contact points necessary to place an order or resolve an issue. RMA return percentage. So can we see, we're starting to see, through these different potential KPI or measurements, how we can weave together, paint a picture of what our customer experience is at any given moment in time. Okay, back to the W's, the who. So who the result supports and who's driving that result or KPI must be clear for the KPI at each and every level. So now we're going to go to an example. This is from experience with a lighting manufacturing and distribution company, make to order product mostly. So we're going, we're focusing on customer experience as our result. So we're going to look at a level 1 KPI being on-time fulfillment percentage. So here we are directly supporting the customer. The shipping group is responsible for on-time fulfillment. But we have beneath or a level behind, we have on-time work order completion for production. This is supporting the shipping group in their on-time fulfillment. And the production group is responsible for on-time work order completion. Then we have a level behind where we have an open parts shortage, and this would be the purchasing or planning group supporting production group. So we got who supports, who responsible, sort of interwoven throughout the levels here. And then lastly, we have a supplier on-time delivery here. So this is a supplier that is directly supporting the purchasing, planning, production team. So, all of these levels sort of tie together, and the result we're after is customer experience. Okay. So now we'll look at the when, or what time frame is the KPI owner responsible for managing. So this is going to be an example. We're going to talk about a manufacturing company. We're going to use the KPI of parts produced, first time quality, which is the parts that are to standard or spec the first time without rework, and then scrap percentage. So here we're going to actually use basically the same measurement or metric, but we're going to vary the when depending on what sort of level in the operation we're dealing with. So maybe the operations manager or director is looking at this KPI on a weekly level. The production manager is looking at the KPI on a daily level. The production supervisor is looking at each shift. Team leaders looking at it hourly. We get the idea, and perhaps our production employees have a board that's kind of telling them how they're doing, up to the minute or each piece they produce. Okay, lastly, for the W's, we're going to talk about where. KPI measurements should be visible. So to create engagement and atmosphere, focus on a team KPI being out in the open and visible, as close to the area where results are driven as possible. So this might look like a TV up in the production area or in a work area. It could be if it's a team that works on a computer mostly, it could be a web dashboard that they're going into. Want to integrate our KPI into daily stand-up meetings or other regularly recurring intervals with the key players present that are driving the results. In the work area, and also we should point to the KPI often to kind of create that energy and engagement around it. Okay, so here we're going to turn to some of the challenges we sometimes run into when we're trying to measure what matters in our business. Some common roadblocks. So here's one. We have data exploration and transformation outside the system. So here we have the famous, we call it the Excel Bible. This can be a lot of information is getting pulled out of a system or various systems, kind of crunched in Excel, and then that's what we're using to run our operations. Necessity is the mother of invention, and some of the best solutions come out, but this is a challenge that we often face and see, and we think it can be addressed with better tools, which we're gonna see shortly. Okay. Another thing here is experienced employees retire, move on, and the knowledge of these processes often walk out the door with them. So training becomes an issue, as well as visibility. Okay, another problem, legacy system reports. Okay, who here has had a report that nobody knows about, or why it was written, or what decade it was written. New employees come on board, it takes them forever to learn the ropes of our systems. Before you know it, you're dealing with bottlenecks, inefficiencies, and even morale hits. Um, you know, these are natural, almost inevitable challenges that can emerge when technology evolves and systems don't. So we think this is a big opportunity to evaluate what's next, how to evolve, and how to ensure your systems grow along with your business. Okay, another problem, information not available, accurate, or accessible. When we lack information accuracy or accessibility, inefficiencies can start to creep in. But more importantly, we're often left making decisions based on gut feeling rather than actionable data. This problem, again, presents a big opportunity to bring your operational analytics into the light, giving you the clarity needed to steer your business more confidently. So, if we kind of see all these problems, we're going to be getting to kind of solutions here. So what we think is, we call it a 4I framework, which is for intelligent BI. We're excited to share a tool too shortly that in Rover BI that we feel has the 4 I's. But we're going to get to also a real world of example of this shortly. So number one, BI should be intuitive. It should be simple to access and use your data. Integrated, it should be able to bring together all the data you need into one data warehouse. Integrous, data reliable, accurate, intelligent. More and more, we're seeing the ability to automate data cleaning, data transformation, and ever more often leverage AI now in data exploration and visualization. So before we go a little further, and we're going to kind of go under the hood, I'd like to kick it over to Derek Lang. Derek, please go ahead and take control.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Bill. So just a really quick background on our company. CMC is a small business contract electronics manufacturer. Our product is skilled labor, basically. What that means is we're essentially a service company, and so we survive by delivering orders exactly on time. And for our type of business, that can range anywhere from quick turn prototypes needed in less than a week to support a design project, or it could be a multi-year scheduled government contract and everything in between. So delivery, on-time delivery or on-time order fulfillment is absolutely one of our key competitive advantages in the business we're in. So before we had partnered with Zoomasys, and I came on and I was here for a year or two, we had identified that our previous system we were running our business on was just absolutely a major factor limiting our growth. I would say we were the poster child, Bill, for those three problem categories that you mentioned. We had to run everything outside the system in Excel sheets, and I was, the only person here who had enough skill with Excel to, compile all the data and run the reports and distribute them. And it was so time consuming that I could only do it like once a week, even though we were making changes to orders every single day. It was a nightmare. So our system did not have the tools that we needed to run an effective production schedule. You couldn't even customize a report. We were just going by dates that printed out on hard copy orders. And if you had changed that order, the hard copy was now no longer valid. There was no such thing as a centralized schedule. You mentioned, Bill, about making decisions on gut feeling, and that was it. It was like, well, if customers aren't yelling at me, then I guess our OTD is okay. our on-time delivery is okay. And obviously that's not, that's not the way we want to be running our business. So the first thing we had to do is we had to get a different ERP system. And so we did that. We got in touch with ZoomAssist. We ended up going with the Rover ERP, although the BI can work with a lot of different systems. So now we have all this detail, we have all this data available to us. But then it's like, okay, now it's almost like information overload. And we kind of went through this period of, okay, now we've got all these reports and we're looking at so many reports and who's looking at what report. And human nature is kind of like to regress back into old habits, I guess. And so people were just going off, well, here's the hard copy date that printed out on the order paperwork. And we were working off of outdated information. So even with the new ERP system, we weren't leveraging all those tools and all that detail that was available to us. And so that's where we ended up having to, you know, elevate our sophistication, I guess. So we found out about the Rover BI tool and we jumped on it. And what we've done since then now, we've completely eliminated dates and scheduling on hard copy. There's no dates that even print out on our orders anymore. The printed reports have all been replaced by dashboards. We've like we have, like you had mentioned, Bill, we have TVs that hang up in our shop. All of our employees have dashboards set at, their level of where they're going to operate. Everybody's working off the same page now. So we created, with the help of ZoomAssist, we were able to create all these advanced dashboards. And so we have one for production that's on TVs. We have dashboards for quality control. We have dashboards for the warehouse, dashboards for the shipping department. And everybody's working off the same data, but it's being presented in a different way that makes sense to them. And so we can set these KPIs and we can now hold people accountable to them. Everybody knows where we stand at any given moment. It actually was kind of an interesting case. We just hired a new director of operations who starts this week, and it was so easy to bring him on and just say, okay, well, here's your metric. And if that metric is moving in the right direction every week, we know it's working. And, now he's like glad that he knows exactly where he needs to focus. And in 90 days and 180 days as managers, when we have to do these reviews, it's like, well, where'd the metric go? Did it go up or down? And if it went up, we're on the right track. So it's even simplified things from an executive standpoint, just in managing employees as well. And we're looking forward to just creating more and more of these metrics and having these balanced scorecards at every point of our production. So it's been a really, really fantastic tool for us. And, we definitely would not have been able to get there, even with the new ERP system that we love, we would not have been able to get there without the BI capability. So that's it. I'll hand it back to you, Bill.
All right. Thank you, Derek, very much. And just want to say it's a great story. And I really love the part about the operations director and, really that we're able to leverage and that you're able to leverage the measurement, the metric to manage. And I think that's what this really is all about, the going back to the measure what matters, high output management. It's a way to manage that's not sort of narrative based. It's a little bit more data driven, and it kind of we can leverage those metrics to help guide our employees, versus kind of having to be behind them all the time, right? So thank you again, and everyone, just appreciate Derek joining us today. Okay, just going back to the 4 eyes here. We're going to go deeper and show you how it looks. So again, just a reminder what these are. Talking about the ease of integration for Rover BI. We easily have pre-built connectors into some PIC multi-value systems, Unidata, Universe, JBase. We've also heavily used the REST Web API to connect to sources. And then there's a variety of SQL options native, and you can, of course, upload files. Data is accurate, available, secure. So data in this case can be sourced directly from your ERP or other data sources. So there's no translation effect or error in moving the data. Data warehousing, structuring, transformation, and visualization can all be done in one platform, eliminating inaccuracies. And dashboards and reports can be shared externally to the web. You can create as many different, dashboards, reports as you want, and publish them to as many people as you want. So, we've helped customers, and we've used to, potentially share information with vendors, share information with customers, to sort of, make it easier for them to kind of get information from us, versus having to email us, maybe email our customer service, et cetera. So it can kind of lighten the load there. And then intuitive. So we have some automated visualizations through a Discover tool, which we're going to see in a minute. We also have an AI assistant built in that we're going to see shortly here. So, and that kind of leads us to the last slide here, just talking about the BI. Four eyes is the intelligence of the business intelligence. So this is becoming an expectation. You can use the Rover BI AI assistant to support your data structuring, cleaning, and transformation, and we'll see that in action here. So I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to jump over to the tool. Okay, so here we're going to take you through kind of what it looks like and how you can get from your data source to a dashboard, and should be about under 10 minutes. So here we're logging into the UI. In Rover BI, you pretty much everything kind of starts with a data source, and then we create data sets, reports from those data sources, and then we also have the AI assistant tools. So in this case, we're going to just start with a data source. You'll notice here we have our multi-value options, native connectors, the REST web. For this webinar, we're going to use Postgres. So, and a public facing database called Northwind. Okay. Okay, and here we're going to test the connection. Connection good. Okay, data source created. Next, we're going to go to mappings, and you can basically, we want to look and see what we have. So here in this Northwind example, you'll notice there's some tables here. We've got customers, we've got employees, we've got order details, orders, which we'll be using in our example. But if you want to kind of peek in, this is where you can go in and you can look at the table, see what kind of fields are available, what sort of data type they are. You can actually change the data type here, transform, if you choose, or if you can do that also at the data set level. So, all right, we're going to go, to a real world example here. We're going to just create a new data set here using the data set designer. So here we're going to do customers first. Okay, and we're going to use the data source we just created, and we're going to use the customer table. Okay. So here, it's going to give us the option. We're going to just basically add all the fields. Again, we have an option here to explore the data and sort of understand what sort of data types are being used. Okay. Here we get a sample of the what the data set looks like. We'll notice we've got some address information, contact names, etc. So we're going to save, and then we're going to run this query. Pretty important point here too is you can automate some of this. You can put these on a job so that you can refresh them. I think a minute is the shortest interval, but you can basically refresh these often and in an automatic fashion. You don't have to go in versus like a legacy system and run these things. Okay. So here we have a customer data set, and now we're going to pull in the order data set. Okay, same process here. We're going to add fields. Okay, and we'll notice here in the orders data set that we have, amount for freight, we have order number, but it looks like we don't have an order amount. So we'll show you kind of what it looks like to restructure this data. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go back in, and we are now going to pull in our order details. Okay, here we're going to add in all our fields, and we're going to save it. We're going to run the query. And here I want to show an example of, this is a case where, we might notice that we have quantity and unit price, but we might want to pick up the extended value there. So here we're going to show you what the UI looks like to sort of restructure this data a little bit and add a column. So you'll notice here we have a variety of easy to use flow steps in the UI. Calculated fields. We can concatenate, count. We can join to other data sets. In this case, we're just going to create a calculated field here called extended price. And we're going to use the UI to do this, and we're going to pull in the quantity value, and we're going to multiply it with the unit price. Okay. So now we have the extended price. That's what we were after. Okay, and then we're going to run the data set again. Okay, so now we have order details with the information we're looking for. It's gonna bring us back to our sort of our main orders data set. Okay, so now we want to pull this information in. Here we're going to edit the orders data set, and we're going to add a flow step, which is going to take fields from another data set. Okay, so we want to pull from the order details, and we're going to join on the order ID. And here we're going to select show all values as an array. This is an important one for our multi-value friends on the call. A lot of times this is how the multi-value fields will come in. Actually, go back. Okay. All right, let's redo that. And array, here we go. So now we're going to pull in the quantity, unit price, and extended price. And as you can see now, we have our multi-value fields here in the data set. Okay. So now we're going to run to kind of populate the entire data set versus just the sample that we looked like. And now our data set contains our quantity, unit, and extended price. Now here, to go a step further, we might want to know this order total versus just the multi-value array. So here we're going to further transform. And in this case, we're going to go to a what's called a power script. And what I'd like to show you here is the AI assistant. So if you are a JavaScript, you have experience, you can very easily do a lot of things here. But we also have our AI assistant to leverage in order to do that as well. So here I'm going to take this prompt here, and I'm going to basically ask the assistant to write the script for us. And here it's taking it's creating an extended price. So let's run it. We're going to check and see how it did. If we look at our extended prices, looks pretty good. So here we go. We're going to save it. Close out our AI assistant. And we're going to run the query again. Okay. And now we have our extended price accessible as a single column. So, the next sort of feature we want to talk about is the Discover tool. So now we have our data set, we have our fields that we want. Now we're going to leverage the Discover tool, which here we're just going to basically select some fields that we think might be interesting to look at. In this case, we're going to pull that extended price field that we just calculated. And you'll see that there's some kind of visuals created here, different charts, big numbers, tables that we might be interested to present. So in this case, we're going to basically just go with what our Discover tool suggests, and we're going to save these visuals. Okay, so you can also tweak them here, add filters, etc. So now we're going to go to the report portion. So we've seen data sources, we've seen data sets. Now we're going to talk about creating a dashboard. So there are different types of reports that can be created, ad hoc, it's, data views. But what we're going to focus on today is a web dashboard that could be published to employees or external, depending on your purpose. Okay, so here we have a webinar dashboard. Do this again. Data set, sorry. Okay. So this is our UI for dashboard creation. You'll notice you have elements to add here. So we're going to add these save visuals that we just created. Okay. All right. And now what we have is basically a rough idea or rough draft of kind of a dashboard. You can get the idea. A lot of these visuals can be built manually as well. But for the purposes of this, we're gonna go with it and we're gonna save it. And now that it's saved, we're going to share it. So here is how easy it is to publish an external link. So here we're gonna we're gonna do that. And basically this link could now be shared with employees, customers, etc. And you'll notice they can sort of interact with the data here. So they can click in, drill in, and then there are options to export the data in various formats if they wish to do any other sort of transformation there. So, okay, so that is the dashboards. And then, lastly, I just wanted to show, let me get out of this. It doesn't like that I'm in the, on the web page. All right, sorry. And what demo wouldn't be complete without some errors? Okay, here we go. So we're in the assistant area, and we're going to show you how to make an AI assistant here. So we're going to call this webinar assistant. Okay. Now we can add a lot of information. We can specify which version of chat it wants to use. In our case, though, we're just going to add some simple skills here. We're going to add the high chart skill, which is a skill of creating charts. And now we're going to add that order data set that we just created. Okay. Okay. So now in those steps, basically, we're talking about going what a user could do. The user now could potentially just log in and sort of visit this assistant and ask it, let's see, please make a chart of 1996 orders by customer with the extended value. The AI assistant is going to kind of go back and process the data set using its high chart skill, take a few moments here, and we should get an output of a chart that could be used, copied into an email or something like that to customers. Okay, there we have it. So this is the Rover BI, just an example of sort of a quick creation of an AI assistant. Okay, so now we're going to go back. For those of us that are still with us, we're going to go back to our presentation. So first of all, thank you, everyone that's stayed with us. If you're ready, if you've seen enough here that you're ready to move forward, please, email us, email me. Email address is here. We're offering today for the participants, you can get a 90-day free demo license. And 2 free 30-minute consulting sessions to get your first data source, data sets, dashboard up and running. Or if you're just inspired and you want to, learn more about sort of management through KPI and measuring what matters, we'd like to send you a copy of High Output Management by Andy Grove, an inspiration for us. So, still not sure. If you got any questions, please, email me again. And, again, we'll send you a copy of the book. We could send you a link for our digital training videos. So, that's it. I really want to just kind of express to everyone, thank you again for joining us today. And we really are excited about potentially joining you on your journey to measure what matters with Rover BI. So thank you, everybody.
Excellent. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everyone, for attending.